Hello and welcome. Today, author R.T. Cagle shares another inspiring story from the Bedtime Stories with Heart and Soul series, written to help you slow down, reflect, and end the day with a little more peace. Now, here's the author.
Hello, my name is author R.T. Cagles. Today's story is called Jet Lost and Found. So, let's get started. It was a bright autumn morning when we realized Jet was missing. The crisp air carried the faint scent of pine and fallen leaves, while the sun peeked shyly through the clouds. It had been one of those perfect mornings where everything felt just right, until we noticed the empty spot where Jet usually sat on the porch. He was gone. Jet was a sleek 2-year-old Black Labrador Retriever with a glossy coat that shimmered in the sunlight. His eyes sparkled with mischief, always seeming to be plotting his next adventure. Full of boundless energy and curiosity, he was a part of our family, filling our lives with joy and occasional chaos. We had never imagined a day when he wouldn't be with us. As soon as we realized he was missing, panic set in. My heart raced as I scanned the yard, calling his name over and over again. Jet, Jet, come here, boy. But the only response was the eerie silence of the countryside. Usually, Jet would come bounding toward us, tongue hanging out and tail wagging furiously, but this time, there was nothing. We sprang into action, my son and I, grabbing our jackets and setting off in different directions to search for him. Our house was surrounded by acres of woods and open fields, the perfect playground for a dog like Jet. The thought of him out there lost sent waves of anxiety through me. What if he got hurt? What if he wandered too far and couldn't find his way back? As the hours dragged on, our concern turned to dread. We had searched every nook and cranny, from the nearby creek where he loved to splash around, to the old barn at the edge of the property. There was no sign of him. By evening, exhaustion took over, and we returned home, hoping that he might be waiting for us on the porch. But he wasn't. That night was one of the longest of my life. I tossed and turned in bed, imagining Jet alone in the dark, scared and hungry. My son tried to reassure me. "He's a smart dog. He'll find his way home," he said. I wanted to believe him, but doubt gnawed at my insides. The next morning, we put up flyers around the neighborhood and posted on every local lost pet page we could find. Neighbors joined the search, some calling out for Jet as they walked through the woods, others driving slowly down back roads, looking for any sign of him. Days passed and still there was nothing. I found myself replaying the last few days, searching for any clues. Had we missed something? Had he given us some signal that he was planning to run off? Jet had always been adventurous, but he had never strayed far from home before. There had to be a reason he had left this time. A week passed and hope began to fade. Each night I would sit by the window watching the horizon, hoping to see Jet's familiar silhouette coming over the hill. Every creak of the door or rustle in the yard made my heart leap, only for disappointment to settle in when it wasn't him. But then, one chilly afternoon, something extraordinary happened. It had been raining lightly all morning, the kind of steady drizzle that makes everything feel damp and dreary. I was sitting in the kitchen, absently stirring a cup of tea, when I heard it, a faint scratching sound at the back door. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? I rushed to the door, flinging it open, and there he was, Jet, soaking wet and covered in mud, but very much alive. I gasped and fell to my knees, wrapping my arms around him. Tears streamed down my face as I held him close, unable to believe that he was really here. Jet wagged his tail weakly, looking as though he had been through quite an ordeal but happy to be home. My son came running from the other room, his face lighting up with relief as he saw our beloved dog standing there. "How did you find your way home, boy?" I whispered, stroking his head. Jet leaned into me, his body trembling slightly, but his eyes shone with the same spark of mischief that had been missing for days. We brought him inside, gave him a bath and dried him off, giving him food and water as we checked him over for any injuries. Remarkably, he seemed to be in good shape, albeit a little thinner and dirtier than usual. As we sat with him, the enormity of what had just happened began to sink in. Jet had found his way back to us, after being gone for over a week. But how? Over the next few days, we pieced together bits of the story. A neighbor who lived a few miles away had seen a dog matching Jet's description near the edge of the woods. She had tried to approach him, but he had darted off into the trees before she could get close. Another neighbor mentioned seeing a black dog near the old railroad tracks, which were even further from our home. It seemed that Jet had been on quite the adventure, wandering far and wide in search of something, perhaps in search of us. We could only imagine the challenges he must have faced during those long days and nights away. The woods were full of hidden dangers, from coyotes to deep ravines, not to mention the cold autumn nights. And yet, somehow, Jet had navigated his way through it all and come back to the place he knew best, home. I often wonder what drove Jet to leave that day. Was it simply his adventurous spirit? Or had he been chasing after something specific? We'll never know for sure, but what I do know is that his return was miraculous. Jet had proven, in his own way, that no matter how far he strayed, he would always find his way back to us. In the weeks that followed, Jet seemed to settle back into his usual routine, as though nothing had happened. He still loved to run through the fields and explore the woods, but he never ventured too far from home again. There was a new bond between us, an unspoken understanding that we were meant to be together no matter what. Looking back on that time now, I realized that Jet's journey home was more than just a story about a lost dog. It was a reminder of the unbreakable connection we share with the ones we love. Jet had been lost, but never truly gone. He carried us with him, in his heart, just as we had carried him in ours. Jet's adventure taught me something about trust and resilience. Even in the darkest moments, when we think we've lost something precious, there's always hope. Sometimes the things we love have to go on their own journey, but that doesn't mean they won't find their way back. Jet reminded us that no matter how far life takes us from home, love has a way of guiding us back where we belong. And so every time I see Jet now lying peacefully on the porch, I smile, knowing that he found his way home, against all odds. Thank you for joining me.
Hello again. As we come to a close, remember to like, subscribe, and follow us so you don't miss a single adventure. Thank you for spending this heartfelt moment with us. Until next time, we hope this story brought you a little peace as the day comes to a close.